Before I begin, just a quick round of hands. Who here has played Farmville or Cityville before? Wow, that's fantastic. Who here plays a couple times a week or on a daily basis? All right, not too bad. Who here has broken their finger playing Cityville? I'm kidding, Cityville causes no harm. There's a separate injury, I can talk about it later. So it's a pleasure to be here, and it's an honor to speak on Zynga's behalf. I've broken my presentation into 3 different parts. The first is to talk about who Zynga is, where we've come from, speak to our growth. Second area is to talk about, what is social gaming, what is this phenomenon, why has it taken off over the last couple of years. And then finally, I'll speak to a few of the brand activations, talk about the case studies, and the great metrics we've done to date. And I think Brad mentioned maybe some time after all 3 of us go for some Q&A at the end. Great. So the motto and mission for us at Zynga, it really comes from the top, from Mark Pincus, our CEO, is to help the world connect through gaming. And not going to do a quick sales pitch, but I've been at Zynga for 1 year, as Brad mentioned. And prior to even starting at Zynga, the reason why I started playing games like Farmville and Mafia Wars or Cafe World is I get requests from my cousins and family in India. I get gifts sent, I get a cow, I get this seeds. What am I doing this? I don't know what I'm going to play this for. But I started playing Farmville, and then I started connecting with my family over there, and we really started developing this great relationship. I would wake up in the morning, check out my game, I'd see what my family had done in India the night before, and it started this conversation. So I'm going to end with not only how much fun and entertaining these games are, but I'm going to stop with actually what social good we're going to provide back, and that really comes from the top, from Mark Pincus, our CEO. So right now, across Zynga's network, we have north of 250 monthly active users. Just want to restate that number. Almost 250 million people every single month play Zynga's games. We're super happy with that growth. I'm going to talk about a couple of reasons why we've seen that spectacular growth to date, and how we're going to maintain that moving forward. As I mentioned, we're a global company with global reach. I'll talk about our acquisitions and our partnerships very, very soon. But starting from the west and going east, we have our headquarters based in San Francisco, offices in Zynga, LA. We have 3 offices and studios right now in Texas. Most recently, an acquisition for a new toy, which makes a great game, Words with Friends. Super, super happy to have them part of the Zynga family. Moving over to Europe and Asia, a company called Dextrose we purchased, which became Zynga Germany. We acquired a company in Beijing, as well as Japan, and a large, large studio in India as well. So a global audience and a global company as well, with over a dozen offices around the world. In terms of scale, if you look at where Zynga was in April 2009, we're relatively equal to the next 2 social gaming companies. The first was Playdom, which was acquired by Disney, and the second was Playfish, which was acquired by Electronic Arts. If you look at where Zynga ended up last year, we have 57 million daily active users, which makes us as large as the next 44 social gaming companies combined. So clearly we're the leader in this space, very, very happy with that fact, and want to continue to hold our market share moving forward. If you look at where we are on Facebook, the latest data shows that Zynga has the top 6 games on Facebook and 7 out of the top 10. What I'd like to point out is the #1 game currently on Facebook, which is Cityville, which has almost 90 million monthly active users, only launched in December of last year. So for us to get a game from 0 to 90 in a very, very short amount of time really speaks to the power of the Zynga platform, which brands and marketers are obviously happy to dive into. Furthermore, it speaks about how we do a lot of great cross-promotion inside of our games. Play something inside Farmville, you'll get something inside Cityville. Play something inside Mafia Wars, you'll get something back in Cafe. And we'll talk about how brands are looking to do that as well. Some more stats on Zynga. Right now, 5 new players join the Zynga network every single second. Fantastic growth, and we're going to continue to put out great hit games to meet the needs of our audience. Currently, over 10% of the world's internet population plays Zynga's games every single month. A couple of stats on our top games. Cityville, as I mentioned, is the fastest growing game in social gaming history, 0 to 90 million in less than 2 months. If you look at Farmville by itself, if you compared it on a global population level, Farmville would be the #5 country in the globe. Huge, huge amount of scale for that amazing game, which will hit 2 years this June. Words with Friends, our recent acquisition from Newtoy, is currently processing 1,000 moves a second. So we've spoken to about the scale, but look at the engagement. And I think the Zynga poker stat speaks for itself. 430 million minutes of playtime on Zynga poker every single day. 500 million minutes people spend playing poker on our platform every day, which is truly astonishing. 1 out of 5 Americans are currently playing social games. I personally believe that not only has Zynga drawn a huge audience from a lot of the casual game sites, like the mini clips, the Pogas of the world, which were big scale a couple of years ago. But furthermore, I think we've actually expanded the pie. People who didn't consider themselves to be a gamer before are now gaming. And I'll talk about that when we look into the exploration on that growth. So I mentioned everyone's a gamer. You know, we don't separate who likes movies, who doesn't like movies, who likes music, who doesn't like music. You know, we all enjoy movies, we all enjoy music, and we all enjoy games. And we at Zynga truly believe that everyone will play games moving forward. The graph to the left showcases the growth of online gaming versus social gaming from 2009 to 10. The blue line, online gaming, represents Xbox Live, PlayStation Network, your traditional hardcore console game usage. The red graph shows the social gaming growth. Clearly, you can see which one is the winner to date. The graph on the right is a recent study that Nielsen commissioned, which showcases the time spent on the internet. One thing is fascinating for me is if you look at the #1 activity on the internet right now, it's social networking, with year-over-year growth about 43%, quickly followed by online games. No stats that we can quote personally on Zynga's metrics, but in general, what has been quoted to date is that roughly 40% of the time on social networks is spent gaming. So if you stick with me really quickly for a math equation, if the internet equals social networking, if social networking equals gaming, and gaming equals Zynga, there's a reason why the internet is for Facebook and Farmville. A huge amount of time is being spent within our network. So we talked about the scale. Well, how does that compare to general media buying and TV audiences to date? So if you look at the games like Cityville and Farmville, our top games, they actually have higher audience ratings than the #1 TV shows in the country, like American Idol, or like Hawaii Five-0, or like NCIS. Cityville has about 36 million weekly active users. Farmville has about 30 million weekly active users. So we're getting to the scale of TV. One of my favorite quotes that another analyst did was that Farmville has turned into the new daytime TV. Women are no longer watching soap operas like Days of Our Lives or Guiding Light. They're actually playing Farmville and our games like that. So now I'll move into a bit about our partnerships and our acquisitions we've done to date. We entered into a 5-year strategic partnership with Facebook. We're great friends with Facebook. We're obviously their #1 application developer. We're not going anywhere. So you'll continue to see us on the Facebook platform. However, Zynga's goal is really to create the best social gaming platform, period. We want to offer our players a chance to play their games wherever they want to play and wherever they want to play, no matter what device as well. So we've confirmed an investment from SoftBank in Japan, which will help us in Southeast Asia. As you may know, in Southeast Asia, primarily social networking is done on the mobile handset, and we're going to use the investments and our acquisition from Uno to actually help us learn about how to develop social games on the mobile set. And then finally, we also announced a partnership with Yahoo. You can actually play Zynga's games on Yahoo's homepage or within Yahoo Mail as well. So go ahead and you can actually click onto Farmville and Mafia Wars, I believe. So it's great to get our games in front of Yahoo's 600 million people. So our recent acquisitions to date, the last number, if it's right, was Zynga's acquired 11 companies over the last 11 months. Some of the recent ones, I mentioned Dextrose. They're a company that's doing pioneering work within HTML5. We believe that HTML5 is going to hold a huge area for gaming moving forward. I mentioned Newtoy out of Texas. They make the great social game Words with Friends. If you want to be more addicted to gaming, I highly suggest you check that out. We acquired a company called Area Code. They did Jay-Z's book launch, and they make a mobile game called Drop 7. Area Code's based in New York. And our most recent acquisition was Market Zero, a great, great young team which is going to help us continue the growth of Zynga Poker. So what are social games? I personally don't like to use the term social or gaming. I come from the hardcore console side, previously at Electronic Arts and Microsoft before that. So you get put into these buckets of who's a gamer, I'm not a gamer. I would just challenge you, or if you can take away one key point from my presentation today, is that look at social gaming as just fun with your family and friends. Simple as that. So if you look at radio in the 50s, television in the 60s or 70s, family board game night in the 80s, or movie theater or an amusement park, as humans, we all enjoy sharing our social activities and communicating our fun together as a group, not as single-player activities. Go back to when you were a kid playing tag. So don't look at the term social gaming, just look at it as another way to have fun with your family and friends. So why has social gaming exploded over the last 3.5 years? To the left is the Halo instruction manual. I'm a huge FPS fan. I love Halo. I've tried to get my mom to play Halo with me. She will not play Halo with me because it's 18 buttons and I've even forgot what right trigger does. So it's very, very difficult to play some of the hardcore console games. If you can use a mouse, you can play every single one of our games. And I'm fairly confident every single person in here can use a mouse. We have no instruction manuals. Our game demos are less than 3 minutes long. And you can actually pick up and learn to play in that short amount of time. So that's the first reason that's fueled this growth. The second is our games are social. That's my Farmville neighbor bar. So John, Jacob, Greg are my workmates, Danny, Marcy, Sarah are my friends. They're all helping me play together. They're sending me gifts, they're fertilizing my farm, they're helping me advance in the games. And it's a true social activity. If you look at some of the tweets that I put on there, and we see this every single day, we have mothers asking their daughters, hey, I'm running home late from work. Can you log on to Facebook for me and harvest my crops? We see that all the time. I'm going on vacation. I don't know what my crops are going to do. So you see that social activity. Brothers asking brothers to help them out inside Mafia Wars to play poker together. So it's a truly social activity. Furthermore, everyone wins inside of our games. This is not a game of Madden where you're going to lose. This isn't a racing game where it's first to the finish line. It's not a shooter game. Everybody wins together. I like to use the term that it's actually co-opetition, not competition. You need the cooperation and the enthusiasm and the encouragement of your friends to level up in the games. So the fact that you don't get fragged and lose within 5 seconds has been a huge driving factor as well. And the last reason, which I think could be one of the most important reasons, is that all of our games are free. If you look at Zynga's growth over the last 3+ years, ties and dovetails very, very nicely to the little recession that we had at that point. So we don't sell $60 plastic discs at Walmart. We don't sell $20 downloadable casual titles. All our games are free, whether you play on Facebook, whether you play on MySpace, or whether you play Farmville on iOS. They're free and they're going to continue to be free. So that's a huge reason why people are coming back into this growth. So we've talked about Zynga, its history, some of our growth and metrics and where we're going to go moving forward. We just finished on, what is social gaming and why has it grown so fast? So over the last year, Zynga's done about 15 brand activations to date. And I'll talk to you about a few of the brands that are partnered with us and some of the metrics that we've seen from that. Start off, great program we did with Farmers Insurance in about September of last year. Farmers Insurance approached us and said, how can we bring the iconic Farmers Insurance airship into a game like Farmville? So, as we were collaborating and worked together, we came up with the notion of, well, why don't we have the Farmers Insurance airship protect a user's farm over the course of the week-long plus activation? Great fit for the insurance brand, a fantastic fit for Farmville. If I could leave you with the second point today is that at Zynga, we don't sell advertising. No banner ads, no pre-rolls. All we do is offer branded content. And that seems to be the biggest factor for why we see such great engagement and such great post-campaign results. So some of the metrics that I would talk about once users place this airship on their farm was protected for that week-long period. We had 6 million engagements. That's 6 million people put their airship on their farm over the course of the week. We increased aided awareness to 88%. We increased purchase intent to 41%. I think those are actually fantastic stats for a company that's up and coming and growing and wants to catch some of the larger players. But one of the big KPIs for farmers was to increase their fan count. They were at 30,000, about 35,000 prior to the promotion. They ended up at 135,000 after the promotion. And they became the #1 Facebook fan page for insurance companies there. So huge KPI, and we're able to deliver them on that goal. And then finally, even if our programs are 1 day, 1 week, or 2 weeks, there's a sense of an extended duration that occurs with all brand activations. So the 6 million people that have this airship, there's a certain percentage of those that 6 months later still have the Farmers Insurance airship on their farm. So we calculated based on the number of people that have the airship times the number of friends that come visit their farm over the course of the 6 months it's run, we've generated over 1 billion impressions for Farmers Insurance post-campaign. So it's the continual mind share of someone going back daily and seeing their airship that provides better brand value for our partners. Second program we did was for Paramount's Megamind. Megamind was the Brad Pitt movie that came out in fall of last year. And it had to do with really Megamind and being evil and wanting to do good. So most movie studios really want to drive awareness. So what were some of the results for this one-day program we did with Megamind? We had 10 million people engage with Megamind's farm. That means for 1 day only, 10 million people went to Megamind's farm and helped him out. So why would a user want to do that? What do they get out of this? And the key here again is that for all activations we do, the user gets something back. There's a user reward, there's a reason for them to go help out Megamind. In this case, you got Megamind's air vehicle, and you got a Mega Grow, which grew all of your crops instantly. And the only way our players can get these unique items is by engaging with the brand. So of those 10 million people that engage, we drove aided awareness to 59%, and the best thing, which is recommendation and consideration for the movie, up to 45%. Huge wins. Megamind did open at #1, coincidentally. Second program we did for Sony Pictures' Green Hornet inside Mafia Wars. Mafia Wars is the #1 Mafia game, RPG game that's been out almost 2 years right now. So in Mafia Wars, you need to collect items of loot to actually help you advance in the game. So you may have to collect some hammers, some gun parts, or maybe some car parts. As you collect these loot items, you then level up and then continue playing across the board. What we did with Sony Pictures was, well, instead of dropping just random unbranded loot items, let's drop loot items related to the movie. So that was Kato's mask or Kato's gas gun. And if you collected all 7 of these items, you then got this Uber item, which was the Black Beauty, which is their main vehicle in their car. Again, the item can only be found by engaging with the brand activation, and furthermore, Black Beauty gives the players something really cool. In this case, 90 attack points, which is a great virtual item to have. So some of the results that we saw, 30% increase in unaided awareness, 15% lift in consideration, and the best metric, 69% took a post-ad action, which was like the fan page, go to the website or watch the trailer, or the biggest one, go to the movies to actually see the movie itself. And almost 700 million plus impressions were generated over the course of a week. Next, we did a program with T-Mobile inside of Treasure Isle, which is our island digging game. And their main goal was to showcase the brand initiatives of the 4G network and speed, and then connecting your family together. So we came up with an idea to do a T-Mobile branded quest, which was get your friends to join you in your crew, which hits their brand goal. Secondly, get T-Mobile calls, again, right in their alleyway. And then furthermore, do some activity inside the game. And then the idea that I continue to harp on is, why would I want to do this? Because T-Mobile is giving me 25 T-Mobile fire shovels, which will then help me advance and dig faster inside the games. 4G networks for speed, the fire shovels give you speed inside your game. We saw 6 million people engage with this activation over the course of 1 week, increased purchase consideration to 59%, and 150 million impressions almost over the course of the week. So huge themes of scale and engagement and giving the user something back. And then finally, and I hope Bonan's here from his plane flight, because I did this especially for Pepsi, but we launched our first program with PepsiCo on Monday with Frito-Lay. So on Monday, if you came to Farmville, you saw Frito-Lay's farm. And on Monday, Frito-Lay launched a nationwide program that had multiple parts. They took over Times Square. Padma Lakshmi and some of the top chef hosts came by to talk about the flavor kitchen. They actually did another program with Electrolux to give away some of their products to really focus on the natural kitchen and the natural flavors that Frito-Lay brings to the equation, whether it's Tostitos or whether it's Sun Chips. So again, if you went to go visit the Frito-Lay farm, you got something cool out of that. We added a little twist this time, which was we didn't tell the users what they were going to get until they went to Frito-Lay's fan page. And remember, there was no incentivization. They didn't need to like the page. We just simply said, go there to find out what you want. We didn't know how many fans this was going to drive. We thought maybe a couple 100,000, we were not sure. On Sunday, Frito-Lay had 45,000 fans. After one day of activating within Zynga, we drove them to 1.9 million fans in one day. To say the least, they were pretty much thrilled with that activity. So a couple of reasons for the successes for the programs that I've talked about. The first is scale. 250 monthly active users, huge, huge audience up there with the large portals, search engines, and media properties around the world. Secondly, engagement. 68 minutes per day on average per player spent playing Farmville. That's a Cisco study that they did last year. So even if you count that as browser time, cut it in half, it's still a huge amount of people are playing the game almost to the length of a TV show. So you have the scale and you have the engagement. But I think the last 2 points are really the most critical, which is user choice. We don't force advertising down our users. It's all about them engaging on their behalf. We have no banner ads that we're selling. There's no Google text words. There's no pre-roll video. So everything is about user love, user choice, and user engagement. And then finally, every program that I've showcased, a user got something back for that. Our players always receive something. So whether it's the Farmer's Airship, whether it's a Coca-Cola inside Cafe World, or whether it's a program we did with Dr. Dre to become part of your mafia for his new movie launch. In the history of advertising, no medium has ever given someone back. No one's ever handed me something from a TV. I never got anything out of a print ad and magazine. But all of our brand activations to date has rewarded the user. And then finally, I want to close on Zynga.org. I mentioned at the beginning, our mission is to help connect the world through gaming. But Mark Pincus, our CEO, also believes that not only can we provide fun and amazing entertainment, but we can actually give back to the world and give back through social good. So a couple of stats I'm going to mention. After the horrible earthquake in Haiti over a year ago, we raised $1.5 million for Haiti. That was people purchasing special seeds inside of the game, and then we donated those proceeds to help the Haiti community. 100% of those donations went to the UN World Food Fund. Recently, the horrible tsunami and earthquake that happened in Japan. Over the course of 24 hours, Zynga mobilized and had about 5 to 7 different activations inside each game, where if you purchased a particular item, whether it was crops inside Cityville or a Kobe cow inside Frontierville, we donated 100% of the proceeds back to Save the Children. We've raised over $3 million for Japan to date, a huge, huge amount, and we're glad to help them out. And then finally, the last stat is since Zynga's org's been around, we've raised over $10 million for the various programs I just talked about, in addition to almost $800,000 for the Benioff Children's Hospital. So the end point is, it's great to make games, it's great to make fun, but we're giving back as well. So I want to leave on that point. Thank you so much for your time.